Hey guys, welcome to DJEP Live. Happy Tuesday and good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. For those that could come in and join us today, of course, the rest of you will see you guys on the replay. But hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. I just got to set up my things here. There we go. Today, of course, we're going to be discussing equipment management inside of DJ Event Planner. What we're going to cover today is what is equipment management used for in DJEP. The differences between systems and standalone, and just a quick overview of how to add equipment into DJ Event Planner, ways to assign equipment to events, and what might work best for you. There are multiple options available to assign equipment to an event, and also just a couple of ideas of best practices when it comes to managing that equipment, as well as printing equipment lists and how you utilize the equipment that you've added to an event inside of the system. So let's start with what is equipment used for inside of DJ Event Planner. So equipment management is designed basically for the following uses: providing employees with lists of equipment that they're assigned and taken to an event, internal inventory availability, and basic tracking in and out. What is it not used for? There is defaults. It does have its limitations. Equipment management in DJEP is not designed to be used for large-scale rental applications where users are looking for digital tracking and UPC scan. In all honesty, if that's something that you need, there's absolutely software out there that is built and designed to do that. And if you have a large rental business and you need to be able to scan equipment in and out, definitely that software is a better option for you. No, is it something that DJ Event Planner might add in the future? No answer. To be honest with you, the political answer is no answer. So as we go along, do feel free, if you have any questions, post them in the chat board, as well as I think you can raise your hand, of course, inside of Zoom. I think that's enabled. But we are going to do question and answer at the end. We have a lot of information to cover, and I'll try to get through it as quick as possible because I know everybody has busy lives and running businesses to get to today. So we're going to start with the difference between systems and standalone. When adding equipment, you can either add a system into DJ Event Planner, or you can add a piece of equipment as a standalone item. Systems should be used only if they never change. So for example, if you have multiple systems that you utilize, say you have 6 systems and you need to borrow speakers from system 5 to go with system 1, that is not systems is not the best way to go. Systems are, again, only should be used if they're never changing, if they're always the same. Standalone should be used if no defined systems are set for it. And we'll kind of go through the differences between those and how that looks inside of DJ Event Planner in a way to still utilize systems, but using standalone equipment. And I'll show you how that's done. We'll demonstrate that through the use of booking helpers a little bit later. So getting started adding equipment. Adding equipment could be, or I should say equipment can be added by logging into DJEP, clicking on setup, and then equipment. And you can select whether or not you want to add a system or standalone equipment. And I'll show you how that's done here as we go through. So here we are inside of a DJ Event Planner demo account. Again, equipment can be found underneath setup and then equipment. And you'll be selected or given 2 options, either systems or standalone equipment. So again, when adding equipment to a system, systems are built out of standalone equipment. So it's always best practice to add your standalone equipment first, and then you can assign it to a system. If you have multiple equipment that you want to build a system from, you have to note that when you add standalone equipment to a system, it'll add the entire quantity to the system. So for example, in this test account, we have this dead-on controller up here that's number 1. You notice that there's 10 available. And if we edit this and we assign it to this test system, it's going to assign all 10 quantity to that test system. So if you want to build out that system per individual quantity, you'd want to add each one of those dead-on controllers into standalone equipment. So in other words, you could take it and do dead-on controller number 1, etc. Also, if you want to identify equipment, if you want to include the model number or the serial number, you'll want to add each one of those pieces of equipment separately, because you're not going to be able to add all 10 serial numbers here, for example, for this dead-on controller. couple other options that you can do when you add equipment. When you add it, of course, you have a name. You can create a category. You can have as many categories as you like. The quantity for the specific item. Active, you could designate a piece of equipment, whether it's active in the system. That means will it appear as assignable equipment when looking at an event. Again, you can assign it to a system here. You can add notes. These are your internal notes or notes that you also want to utilize with a merge tag in a document or an email template as far as the description goes. And then internal notes are strictly for your internal notes. And I don't believe there's a merge tag for internal notes. I'll have to double check on that one. But again, identification, you can include manufacturer, model number, serial number. You can also include a location. So if you have multiple locations where equipment is stored, if you have multiple warehouses, you can add a specific location so your warehouse manager, your equipment manager knows where that equipment is, or your employees know where they're grabbing that equipment from. For tracking purposes, this is strictly for internal use. You can utilize the system so you can run a report, a custom equipment report at the end of the year for new equipment added. The purchase date, where you purchase it from, if it has a warranty. This is kind of always great information to keep track of anyway. If you're buying equipment, you should always keep track of your warranty length and know what it is. God forbid something happens to that piece of equipment where it stops working. This will be able to be a quick way where you can reference what the length of that warranty is on the equipment. You can check as well if you have it insured. I hope you have all of your equipment insured. And then, of course, your current value, purchase price. And again, these are all just internal things for your own personal knowledge. Same thing under the financial tab. You can assign what the add-on fee is or rental fee if you are renting it out. Again, this is just for internal use, these two things. It will not affect your fee calculations on an event in any way, shape, or form. Once you've added a piece of equipment, of course, saved it. Again, you can either add it as a standalone equipment or a system. And I want to always stress that a system is never changing. So again, only create a system if it's consistently the same. You never have to borrow equipment from it, etc. Now, let's see here. Any questions about adding equipment? Because I kind of just went over that pretty quickly. I think it's self-explanatory a little bit when you add that equipment in there. Again, feel free to post questions inside the chat. Cool. Well, now let's look at assigning equipment. There's a couple ways that you can assign equipment to an event, and it's either manually on the event. You can assign it automatically by package or add-on, or you can assign it by a booking helper, either manually running that booking helper, automatically running that booking helper, or can be used to assign a system by using standalone equipment. And I'll cover that for you in just a little bit. Again, there's going to be a couple different options, and what works best for you is going to be based upon how your business operates with equipment and managing that equipment and assigning it to an event. So let's take a look at how do we assign equipment to an event. So the first step would be manual. When you're on an event, let's just jump down here to this event for a second. Equipment will be found underneath the resources tab, and the resources is where you're going to have other vendors, any notes about the equipment that you want to make that are relevant to this specific event. And then you'll see down here at the bottom, you'll be able to see your systems, your standalone equipment, equipment that's assigned manually, and assigned equipment by package and add-ons will appear down here. Now, the important thing to note, and we'll get to this and show you a little bit as well, but when you assign equipment automatically based upon package and add-on, you cannot change the quantity per event. You can only change the quantity globally. So when we're talking about adding equipment automatically to a system through the use of add-ons or packages, you want to make sure that it's a quantity that doesn't change. That's never changing. To add equipment, you simply select what you'd like to add. So let's say, for example, we want to add some speakers to this. And you'll notice as well that we'll have an inventory count down here, which is great when you're keeping track of inventory. So say we want to assign 2 speakers of our EKXs, and assign 1 subwoofer. You'll see that it's automatically added to that event there. So that's how we manually add equipment to our system or to an event. Now, there's a couple different ways, like I said, aside from manually adding equipment, you can also do it automatically by package and add-on. And again, I want to reference that if you add equipment by a package or an add-on automatically, you cannot change the quantity here. It has to be changed globally. So for example, we can manage our packages and our add-ons underneath setup. And if we go to our packages, for example, let's just look at this basic PAR package, this first one for a second. When looking at it, we'll be able to see equipment that is assigned to this package. And if we edit it, we can select the quantity of what items need to be added to this package. Same thing when you're looking at your add-ons. We'll be able to look to see what equipment has been assigned, and you can assign equipment based upon quantity or a system in this case. Again, keep in mind that anytime you have equipment that is added by package or add-on, you cannot change the quantity on the event. You have to come in here and change the quantity globally. So when you're doing situations, when you're managing equipment by package and add-on, you want those to be those things that never change. So a good example of this would be, let's say, add-ons. Let's use our LED uplights. So I have two different add-ons here. And if we view this add-on underneath the LED uplight, and we'll look at the assigned equipment, this one is for one LED uplight. So when I go to an event, I'm going to make this is a per price quantity. So if I'm adding equipment to this event, or excuse me, adding the add-on to this event underneath the financials tab, I will select that LED uplight. That's $50 a light, and then change the quantity to 10. That will now automatically assign 10 LED uplights underneath that add-on. So that's one definite way to do it. The other way is by creating an add-on that has the specific number that you want to add. So for example, if I offer a package with 25 uplights, you'll see that I have an add-on here. And the assigned equipment, it's going to assign 25 uplights to that event. So same thing when I go to this event. In the resources, I'm going to, oh, whoops. I take that back. We're going to edit the event and add the add-on. So they're going to have a $25 or 25 light package plus additional 10 lights. And now underneath resources, we'll have 35 total. We have 10 lights here plus 25 here. So again, you'll notice that you cannot change the quantity here. So again, the quantity has to be changed globally by going to setup, add-ons, and then editing that add-on. Same thing with packages. Any questions so far about adding equipment? I see Danny's got one. Danny asks, if you book a DJ with their equipment to an event, then change the DJ, is there a way to auto delete gear assigned to that event? So basically, I guess the best answer to that, Danny, would be that I would not associate gear or have a DJ using their own gear's equipment inside of DJ Event Planner. I wouldn't want to track their equipment, let's be honest. And the reason why I wouldn't do that is because it's not part of your inventory, if that makes sense. I would only use company inventory inside of DJ Event Planner when tracking that equipment. Oh, so you mean your gear? Okay. So there is a way, in essence, and we'll get to that in booking helpers, that you can have equipment automatically cleared, and there's a better option that it might be for you. So we covered how to manually assign equipment to an event, how to assign it via package and add-on. The next way, and this is one of my ways that I like to use, is by the use of a booking helper. And so you'll see underneath booking helpers, and we're going to come down here to the system one, and this is how I like to build out my systems. So instead of using a system inside of DJEP, because I need to borrow equipment from one system to go to another, and if that's the case for you as well, you might want to use booking helpers to assign systems as well. So when we manually run, let's just give this a background color here right quick. So when you're manually adding equipment via a booking helper, you'll see there's an equipment tab when you're editing the booking helper. And Danny, this is where you're going to want to utilize a booking helper to change that. When you're moving a DJ to another, you can remove all currently assigned equipment and then add equipment here. So you can still assign systems from here. But again, I like to build everything out via the booking helper as a system. So for example, if I have system one, it's got 2 speakers, 1 subwoofer. Again, this isn't a demo account, so this is by no means any of my type of equipment. Let's just say it includes 1 stereo, whatever that's supposed to be. And we don't want to include uplights in this one. We'll just call that our basic system on system one. So now that we have that checked, if we go to this event down here that had the equipment already assigned, if I run this booking helper, it's going to remove all currently assigned equipment, and then it's going to assign the standalone equipment to the event that I picked for that's part of system one. So now when I go to resources, we'll see that the things that I had added here are assigned, but you'll also notice that the package items are still here. So that's why it's best to pick one way or the other to assign equipment to an event. Because again, auto-assigned equipment via package or add-on, the quantities cannot be changed. It has to be done globally. And even when you use the booking helper to remove equipment that's already assigned, this equipment currently is attached to the add-ons that are assigned to the event. And the only way to remove this equipment is to edit the event and change the add-ons. So to prevent that, again, if it's a spot where you need to constantly adjust equipment, I would utilize a booking helper to build that system out. So again, when you're setting up that booking helper, you can also create a booking helper, and this may help some, called remove equipment, which is simply just removing all assigned equipment. So if you have an event that you previously signed equipment to that you need to remove that equipment from, whether it's to free up inventory or whatever, it'll take care of it that way for you. Any questions so far? I know there's a lot of different options available when assigning that equipment. Again, like I said, it's going to be based upon how things work best for you when you manipulate your equipment inside of the system and inside of the software. If all of your equipment and your packages are consistent and there's never any quantity changes, absolutely utilize the add equipment by package or add-on. If it's constantly changing, I would build out systems utilizing the booking helpers. And there's also a way that you can make this automated with the booking helper as well. So with this assigned system one, if you have not noticed the automation tab underneath booking helpers, you'll notice a few different options. When adding a new event, you can have this booking helper run based upon the event status that is selected, based upon specific packages, by event types, or selected add-ons. And when you update an event, you can also have this booking helper run, which will run that. So now, if depending upon how you have your packages set up, for example, in our office, we used to have our packages actually based upon the DJ that was booked. So we could take that package, we'll just say it's wedding package 2. And when we add this into the system, we can have it add that equipment for that specific DJ or that assigned rig if that rig is never changing. So there's definitely quite a few different options to be able to run it the way that you want to be able to run it to make it work for your system. So I don't know if that helps you out, Danny, at all. So if you move it from Jeff to John, for example, changing DJs, again, if you missed that question, Danny had asked about how can we remove the equipment and update it when we change DJs. So this is another great way to do this. You can build out an entire booking helper if there's gear that's assigned to that employee. And let's, come back here. We're going to just create a test booking helper simply for that. Whoops. So we're going to create just a booking helper in your scenario to assign Jeff to the event. We'll make it a color for us. Whoops. There we go. Decide what status is. Right now, I'm just going to select all. Underneath employees, we're going to assign well, we don't have a Jeff, but we're going to use this test here. And you can assign them to a specific position, and you can assign a specific role. And then underneath the equipment, you can assign Jeff's equipment, for example. And make sure to select remove all equipment. So that way it'll remove John's equipment when you assign Jeff. Does that make sense, Danny? Okay, thank you. Perfect. And then I know Bernie asked, how would you handle broken equipment or equipment that is out for repair? So what I would do in this situation is I would make sure that that system or that piece of equipment is a independent item underneath standalone. So say, for example, if you really want to keep things tracked, how I have EV, or where is it? Let's just go with these here. These EV EKX speakers, I have quantity of 12 available in here. Now, if I wanted to, I could actually take this down and let's say I only have, and we're going to edit this. I'm going to say I have 10 here. And I'm going to take that, and we're going to actually view it again. Oh, whoops, actually I don't want to do that. Let's say I have my EV EKXs numbers 1 and 2. We'll call them a pair. Depends on how you want to have them in the system. So we'll say that we have 2 here. And you can put in serial numbers and stuff like that. So if I have equipment out for repair and it's unavailable, what you would do is you'd log in, go to your equipment, find that piece of equipment. And in this case, we're going to say that both need to be repaired. And I'm going to edit this and I'm going to mark it inactive. And now when I go to an event, I'm not going to see that piece of equipment. The thing that you have to remember is when that equipment comes back from repair, you'll see that EKXs 1 and 2 are not available. You have to mark that piece of equipment back as active again. And you're correct, EVs don't break, but there's always a rare scenario if you have a DJ that decides to just go crazy wild. And I've seen an EV blow up. Back in my office, we used EVs exclusively for many, many years. And we had a wall of shame of blowing cones that had to be reconed. Of course, that led us to more safety protocols and actually eventually locking down amplifier cases. This is, of course, back in the day of passive speakers. And now I think everybody's pretty much moving towards active speakers. But absolutely agree with you. EVs are I love my EVs. But anyway, moving on now. So those are the different ways that you can add equipment. Again, you can add equipment manually. You can add equipment through the use of a package or an add-on. You can add equipment through the use of a booking helper, which again, you have multiple options to do so, whether you manually run that booking helper, whether you have that booking helper run automatically when you add an event based upon the package or the add-on, as well as you can have it run automatically anytime you update an event based upon the package and add-on that you add, which is a great way. For example, when you're assigning uplights to an event, you have a client, you could have that booking helper assign the uplights if you need to eventually change the quantities versus having it assigned via the add-on itself, where you can't change the quantities. You can have that booking helper run automatically when you add the uplights to the event. And again, that's simply by going to, we'll walk through that again real quick, set up application booking helpers. You can find that add-on or that booking helper, you can create a new one. And if we don't want to see that uplights in here, let's say we add depending upon the package. So we have the 25 uplights for the package. On automation, we are going to add, when this add-on is added, LED uplights 25, this booking helper will automatically run. So let's save that. And real quick, we'll come back here to add-ons and we'll remove the assigned add-ons to this or the assigned equipment. So now when we add this package or this add-on, oh, you know what, one more thing we need to do real quick. Okay, perfect. We're going to go to an event. Let's come down to this one. We're going to move any equipment that's assigned here. If we edit this, financials, we're going to add the LED uplights 25. And now underneath resources, those 25, oh no, where'd it go? Ah, right here. No, that's not it. I take that back. Something happened here. Let me figure it out real quick. Did I forget to assign the equipment to it? Oh, that would be the reason why. I forgot to add the quantity in the equipment. So let's try that again. We're going to remove this add-on. And then we're going to add that add-on back in. And now that should have added our 25 LED uplights. Oh, no, it's because I didn't. Let's go to a different event because that event's just been messed with too much today. All right. Oh, so this one had it as well. So again, when you're first adding that into the system, here we go. No, nothing I added here. We'll add those uplights. And there we go. We have our uplights added on. Once you have that if there was an add-on that was already assigned and then we updated it, we needed to completely change it, save the event, and go back in and do that, just because we've been moving around with getting these moving through. So now that we've had equipment assigned to the event, again, the purpose of having equipment inside of the system is mainly for letting DJs know what equipment they're taking, as well as basic inventory tracking where we can see what's available for a specific event. You'll see because we have 25 assigned here on the state, we have 75 available. Now what do we do? So we have it assigned to the event. What do we do? Oh, excuse me. So in DJ Event Planner, you'll be able to print equipment lists. And there's a couple ways that you can print this equipment list. And that's going to be through either the event itself from the resources tab, from reports equipment list, where you can print a month at a time. You can also do it from reports event prep. And then the most convenient way as well is through a merge tag added to a document template, an email template, or an event information sheet. So as we go through adding, once we've had that equipment, let's say we're going to prep for this event, you'll see while we're on this event, there's a print equipment list option, and that's going to print up the equipment list. We'll give you a brief view. Currently, the way that the equipment list is in the system, you're not able to edit the way the system works. However, if you were to add the merge tag to a document template and create it, either send it to the employee via an attachment or a link, or add the merge tag to an event information sheet, you can edit a little bit of the way that it looks. So you'll see here, you have an ability to mark out and in, gives the name, model, category, location, and here's the equipment notes that you'll find underneath the resources tab on the event. So you can print this page off for each event, which that can be a tedious task if you have a lot of events, because that means you have to come into the resources tab, and if you're printing the planning forms as well as the planning forms tab. Now the way to do it, the way that I like to do is I like to add it to the event information sheet. So let's see if I have an event information sheet set up in here. So an event information sheet, if you're unaware, can be customized. So we'll go do that through our documents. We'll go to Setup, Documents, and we'll find, I think I already have one in here. We have an event information sheet right here. Let's see what this one looks like. We're going to change this one because it doesn't have any equipment in there. Here, not change that one. Okay, that was a small glitch. So let's, I'm going to go to document sharing. Oh, you know what? I don't think it's been inputted yet, has it? No. There's two new event information sheet templates that'll be coming out. And here we go. You have one with financials and one without financials. Those will be available underneath document sharing shortly. We'll see this one has equipment list. It's a really basic equipment list, but you can edit this as well. And if you wanted the full, let's throw this down here, equipment list table, you'll be able to find it either underneath standalone equipment or systems. You can either use list of equipment. There's also equipment tables, and it is underneath event prep. And you have 4 different tables to choose from. For example, we'll just insert equipment list table number 1 in here. And we're going to mark this to make a document template and event information sheet. At the top setting tabs, select event info forms, and then you can select what event types this document will be used as the event information sheet that prints with all the planning forms. And you can choose a specific event type or all event types. And right now we'll just leave this at all event types. And make sure, you want to make sure that you don't have more than 1 event information sheet for a specific event type or marked as for all events, because the system by default will grab the first one in order as it goes down when you go to print it for an event. So now if we go back to that event and say we want to prep for it, I don't remember what event, we'll just go to this one here. And when we go to planning and now we print this event information sheet, it will have that available down here. You'll notice that this probably needs a little bit, there's some CSS that's misaligning the quantity there that we can fix in there, of course, but this will print right with the event information sheet. And if you go to print all planning forms, that'll print with the rest of the planning forms for your DJs. You can do the same thing if you wanted to send your DJs. Whoops. Just lost our screen sharing. Apologies. Hey now. There we go. So if you want to send your DJs email the week prior to, you could create a new email template. Let's see, do we have any event information in here? We'll just create a new quick email template. And you can send it to the employee, and we can use those merge tags just to let them know more information about the equipment or about the event, as well as the equipment that they're taking, which again is going to be found underneath event prep. And we're going to set this to go to the employees, not the client. And you can even schedule it to go to the employees prior to. We're going to change this. We're going to go throw this to employees in here. I'll just make an employees category. And you can have this go out to the employees week 2 with more information in it. Okay, of course, the test event that's on here doesn't have any equipment assigned to it. So you can have that go out to the employees so they have a heads up and know what equipment that they're taking. The last option to be able to print these planning forms, there's 2 options. So you can also see coming up underneath event prep. So reports, event prep, you'll be able to go based upon a time period, and it goes 1 month at a time. When you put these dates in here, you can also search by a specific employee name, but you'll be able to view the equipment that is assigned to an event. You can print the event information sheet from here, the equipment list from here, the planning forms, other documents, driving directions, etc. So this is actually useful for those of you that have a lot of events going out on a specific weekend. You can run a report just for that weekend and print all the forms right from here instead of having to go to each event to print planning forms if you print hard copies for your employees. The other spot is underneath the equipment list. Again, same thing, month period at a time. Whoops. Let's go to a month in the system that has events. Interesting. Why is there no November here? Let me refresh that. There we go. I don't know why November was missing, but it was. Here you'll be able to print all of them for an entire month or a specific date period. And this would be great for the use of your own knowledge, or if you have a warehouse manager, equipment manager that needs to pull and prep equipment for upcoming events. And those are the ways that you can add that. Yeah, Danny, you can add that to the wish list. You can also actually CSS some of those, and it's a little bit more advanced than we get in here. These tables have classes in them. So what's the best way to do it? It's probably better time for an advanced class, Danny, as far as taking care of manipulating the way the table looks and the layout, and whether it has borders or not. But you can absolutely print it without borders. It's just a matter of targeting the CSS in it and making the border 0. But that kind of wraps it up here for me as far as equipment. I know I just went through a ton of stuff really, really quick. This will be recorded, or this is recorded, and we'll do a live play tomorrow as well. Let's see if I get anything else. Nope, we are to the questions section, actually. Feel free to post any questions. It could be about equipment management or not, whatever works best for you guys. And I'm also going to throw a quick poll into the chat room here in a moment. So if you have a moment to respond to that poll, that'd be great, because that gives us a little bit of insight moving forward on our DJEP live events. Oh, thanks for pointing that out, Dennis. You're correct. Yeah, if I had the end date on October 31st, November wouldn't show up, would it? Because that would be after the end date. So it makes absolute sense. And that's what I was thinking to myself quietly, but I'm glad you pointed that out, because I was a little off on that. But anyway, as we go through this, any questions that you have about equipment management, signing equipment, running reports, and as well, it doesn't necessarily have to be, if you have any questions about DJ Event Planner in general, feel free to post those in here too. Well, I got a quick question for you guys while you're here, and you can feel free to raise your hand as well or unmute your microphone. But how's the corporate season looking for you guys coming up? You guys booking corporate events? Is anything looking like it's happening, or?
We had a couple on the calendar, and one of them got canceled already, but usually people don't book us until about now, so we're just not seeing the bookings. But we did get one cancellation already.
Gotcha.
I'm a newbie to your group here, Fletcher, but I have none.
Hey, Paul. Well, welcome, Paul. Thanks for joining. Have you been a DJEP user for a while, or?
I have not used DJEP at all, but
Gotcha.
I'm an associate of Tony Lackey there, and he's he's getting really fired up about the program. So he invited me to watch, the mail here.
Right, rock on. Yeah, Tony is
sell him on it, Fletcher.
Oh, you're working hard. I know Tony's super eager and enthusiastic about DJ Event Planner, which is awesome. And I always post this, and I've said this before, that when I started using DJEP 10 years ago, I used probably about 10% of the system. And I'm just amazed by all the number of things that are there. There's a lot of options in DJ Event Planner, so sometimes it can be a little bit overwhelming. And some of our longtime users will notice as well, too, that over the years, we've actually increased the amount of support that's available through live chat, the forum, the Facebook users group, phone, demo, intro calls, all that cool stuff. So, and Mike, let's see. So I was going over these chats. It's sad to hear. I know that it looks like non-existent for corporate from Karen as well. Michael House, yes, you can absolutely operate 2 companies from underneath the same account. In fact, I actually did that with a DJ and a video company. So it's just a matter of separating your request information forms. You're going to utilize the static forms and put one on each site, and you can include the increased source so you know which site they're coming from. Same thing for documents. You just create a different document for each company. And what I did as well, if I had somebody that booked both companies, for example, the DJ and the video in my case, they still had their own independent events in the system, but you could actually run it all through the same event, depending upon the financials. But it's going to be easier to have 2 separate events on that same day. So that way the video or the photo booth guys have their own information on the event, and DJ has their own information on the event if they're two separate entities for sure. And Dennis, you had a question about equipment quantities.
Back in the very beginning, you had talked about your example, either saying that you have 10 Denon controllers or individually each one 1 through 10.
Yep.
What would you say is the best? And can I do both? Can I say I've got this many uplights, but maybe I want them individually listed because they'll each have different I'm not sure how to
options. Yeah. So I think for uplights, for example, where you have something that's a large quantity, but you have different versions, for example, maybe you have, par 36s, par 38s, or different variation uplights. I would probably put them all into one, but separate them, of course. So it's not just generalized uplights. You have your par 38s. I got 50 of those. My par 36s, I got, 20 of those, et cetera. And I would do it that way. When it comes to those controllers, like I said, for example, if you wanted to track each one individually, you'd want to put them in individually. That way you have a better record management. So if you have a controller that's out at repair, say you have 6 of them, one's out at repair, you mark that one that's out at repair as inactive, then you only have 5 available on that date. And that way it also, if you want to track based upon serial number, you're going to want to add each piece of equipment in individually at that point.
Yeah, because it seems like it would be easier if I could just generalize, but then you lose the advantage of having the specifics, right?
Yep, correct. Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
No problems. You're welcome. So yeah, it can definitely grow your equipment list and make it longer depending on how much equipment you have when you individualize it. Some things do make sense to generalize. Like I said, when you have large numbers of things like the uplights or whatever it may be, but I like the idea of the individualization, so you have a better way to keep track of those things. So let's see here. Anybody else have any questions? Thanks for filling out that poll, guys. I see looks like most of you have voted except for 2 of you. Cool. And one I didn't put in there is if there's any questions or thoughts about, this is our obviously second DJEP live that we're doing on a monthly basis. If there's anything that you'd like to see coming up that's not on that poll, I know that poll I put together to question you guys to see, get more information as we move forward, just to make these topics and the videos themselves better. If there's something you see that you think could be added, feel free to type it in the chat box as well. And we will make sure we do that and take that into consideration. Oops, I just realized I was recording a screen when I didn't need to record. Cool. Let's see here as well. Let's see here. Tim's got a question. Yes, Tim, actually, for sure. Yeah, we're actually working on something on the back end as well and working on putting that education together regarding, and that would go to you as well, to Dennis. Was it Dennis who asked that question? Michael, about operating multiple companies underneath one entity. We're working on a detailed aspect, and hopefully we'll have that video out real soon, as well as a text guide. You'll notice as well too, if you guys have not subscribed to the YouTube channel yet, make sure you do so. We're working hard and trying to get videos out with new information and training and tutorials, as well as putting together text guides for those of you that are not like to watch videos but prefer to read instead. So with step-by-step text guides. And then again, any questions that you guys have, as we're almost out of time for this DJEP live. So if you have any questions, again, whether it doesn't necessarily have to be equipment related, can be anything related regarding DJEP. I'm just looking back through the chats, make sure that I haven't missed anything yet. Gotcha. Perfect. So as far as weddings go out there, are any of you guys that are on currently doing weddings? Are they still going where you're located, or are you guys completely shut down?
Yeah, we have a couple weddings happening up here in northern Michigan.
Cool.
So I had 2 weddings this last weekend, and I have one this coming weekend.
I have one more,
Yes.
and then we'll see what next year brings.
Gotcha.
If I'm still alive, trying to schedule another COVID test.
Wait.
I'm 75 frickin' years old, you know?
Right.
I should have been gone from this business long ago, but I haven't got enough sense to leave.
Don't let him fool you. He'll still be kicking and booking.
I can still get down though. I just can't get back up.
Right. Hey, the DJing kicks your butt. I mean, Paul, you're what, 38?
I am 74.10, and I've been doing this for 42 years.
Wow. Congrats. That's awesome.
I've done, my company has done over 1,000 weddings. Nothing like the big multi-ops, you know, but
Right.
been pretty pleased with what it's done.
For sure. That's quite a
Sure
track
has
record.
made a wonderful life, you know, associated with the people and the music.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Our wedding season is winding down just because it's naturally winding down, but we did get a bit more in September. Everything through the summer was canceled based on restrictions and everything, but September seemed to be when that kind of expired and people were either pushing forward or modifying where they could still have us. Actually, one of the things I had trouble with was kind of building new statuses in DJ Event Planner because
Okay. Yep.
it wasn't just a normal cancellation or a normal rescheduling. It was I wanted to do the COVID specific. So
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of things where, and you guys probably understand when you create a new status, it's really not done there. You also have to enable it, like classify it as booked or not booked.
Yep.
You know, your iCalendar needs to be updated with that status. Also, whether it shows up in your calendar in DJ Event Planner, plus then whether your DJ will see it when they log in. So there's kind of like a few different areas where I was a little worried that I may have missed something, but I
Right.
think I kind of got it all. I just don't know if there's maybe a way that can be more streamlined when you do add new categories or statuses.
Right. Yeah.
When you wrong.
I think that might be something that would actually be decent for the wish list. Obviously, even with you guys managing COVID, and it's been an interesting situation on our end. It's been an interesting situation. We put together best practices, but there are absolutely, I think, ways that'd be more convenient as far as if you add a new status, what do you want this tied to? You know, where is this going to be showing up at in other situations, like you said, because you do have to check, make sure it's on the iCalendar that's exported for each employee. You need to make sure it's visible on the calendar and things of that nature. So I think that might be something that could be added to the wish list on the support forum to see if the developers can make something like that happen.
Yeah,
Whether it's just a check.
Add a new category or a new status. So that's part of it too, is, you know, I haven't done it for a long time. And so I'm adding new ones, and I just have to think of what the impact is along the way.
Absolutely.
Hey, Fletcher. Tim was asking, with booking helpers and automatic schedule tools, is there a way to run multiple helpers at one time?
Gotcha. At this moment, there's not, because the biggest problem with running booking helpers off of another booking helper is it creates a redundancy, and it could create a loop, basically. So at this time, you can't run a booking helper off of another booking helper, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So basically what I'm looking to do is, like, if I clicked my event helper that's book event and set the status to obviously booked,
Right.
but then out the contract, send them a thing to make the payment, and then once that payment is made, to actually change it to completely booked, send them out like a welcome kit email, you know,
Right.
kind of do multiple options, but it doesn't have that option for the first booking helper.
Underneath, are you talking about for making a payment? So do you not run a booking helper when the first payment is made?
No.
Gotcha.
Because
Sure.
sometimes I do in-person consultations, and sometimes it's just on the web. With
Right.
being part of playing with that,
Oops. Wrong one.
kind of changed things a little bit. So,
Absolutely. Let me pull
like,
up
it
the
used to be
right.
all in person, but obviously now a lot of people don't want to do in person. So,
Right.
it's been a lot more, hey, I can make the payment online and we'll send the contract over, everything's done. But I haven't really gotten everything changed over to that. So,
Absolutely. Let me see if I can get the right window here, and I'll show you a good way to do that. And I also wanted to answer, I know, Michael, you asked about does it integrate with ManyChat? I'm not familiar with how ManyChat works. However, I do believe it is plausible. And I see Keith is in here. He might be able to assist with that as well. But when you go to, depending on how the code is added to the page underneath website tools, and the client portal, there's an option to add custom code at the bottom or custom script. Why is my computer not cooperating? There we go. All right. So underneath the request information form, the client portal appearance, in this custom scripting code, you can add any code that is going to be run. And if ManyChat is like any other chat form that I know of, it usually gives you a script that you can use to embed it on a page. And you can typically add that there, and then you have that chat feature available to your clients through the client portal. So it is plausible. Something I'd have to look into, because again, I haven't worked with ManyChat before, but I hope that answers your question regarding that. And then as far as that booking helper, so the thing that I would do is, if I have a booking helper that's run after a first payment is made, you can have that first payment booking helper be run automatically once that initial deposit or retainer fee is paid. I would also have it appear as a button above the event. So that way, if for that client that I'm manually adding that for, and you can actually even make that even easier. And we kind of went over this in the booking helpers video. I don't know if you saw that one yet, but let's see. Do I have it in here? Where is it? I must have used a different demo account. So let's put, let's do this retainer fee paid. And we'll just throw some colors in here real quick. And I only want to see this on, well, we'll just put all select. So you would just have, I would only have it visible on my contract sent or contract signed status, depending on what you have. Then you can update that to, you're completely booked. Set any permissions available in the client portal. You can send that email that you want to the client, as well to the employee if you want to send, a booking confirmation here. Set that date booked. Whoops. If you wanted to, and then assign any equipment that you want here as well.
Right.
So you kind of do that through that first booking helper, and then not only will it be available above the event, you just have another one that's similar to this. Well, you could have this one run off the first payment. I take that back, but I would have one that I could manually run, that would add the amount of the payment. So say it was cash, for example, and then underneath financial, you can add that retainer fee, cash, reason for payment. And then that way, when you're on that event, let's just say, let's go here, depending. Retainer fee, paid cash. It's going to run all those things, add the payment, and you're done. So that's how I would handle those manual in person. They give us a retainer fee. And then I would have one, like I said, similar to this, that is not adding the payment, just assigned to that booking or to the first payment option underneath the payment gateway for those that pay through the payment gateway.
Gotcha.
Does it help?
Yeah, absolutely.
Rock on. Cool, guys. Well, I think I'm going to wrap it up. Again, I want to thank you guys for taking your time out today to join us. Hopefully, you guys learned something new. We're able to take something away from this DJEP Live. Again, our next DJEP Live will be, it's always going to right now fall on the third Tuesday of the month. We do right now currently have it set up to register, just to make it a little bit easier to prep and prepare for. Well, thanks again for your time, guys. I'll I'll see you on the next DJEP Live if nothing comes up before then. And you guys enjoy the rest of your Tuesday and have a hopefully a great Halloween if anybody's doing anything for Halloween. So, all right, guys, thanks again. Thanks for joining. Have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you next time.